What's the most expensive mistake you've ever made?
Used to work at a research lab, knocked over a cart with 200k in samples. I was in a hotel. Took some sleeping pills, right before taking a shower. Turned the water on to let it warm up. I wake up several hours later, and the floor is soaked. I was on the 7th floor. Estimate was around 30k in damage, that doesn't include all the room changes for everyone below me. Well, my dog ate my underwear once, and then I paid 2k for her stupid ass to stay alive, the most expensive literal piece of shit underwear I ever owned. Not expensive for me, but for the state. I used to work for the Division of Forestry dispatching firefighters to wildfires. Two roads on opposite end of the county had extremely similar names. Took a call from a guy reporting a fire on White Pine Road. We were already on site for a fire on White Pine Lane. I said, White Pine. We have a crew on the scene already, sir. Came in the next morning and saw that there was a new fire on the map. White Pine Road, 700 acres. Whoops. Fence. Met this girl. Fell in love. Moved into her house. She wanted to fence the yard. I wanted her to be happy. We had a very nice fence installed. It was financed. We were saving up money every month to pay the fence off, and it would have been 0% interest. Everything was working great. Then she cheated on me and gave me chlamydia. I saw her trying to put antibiotics into my food, is how I found out. Then I moved out. Then she took half of our savings account, which was already fucked up because I put way more than half in there, but if that's the price it takes to get her out of my life, fine. Then she says she isn't going to have enough to pay off the fence within the 0% interest period because she took half the savings. I also don't have enough. But it's in my name. So I was left holding the bag on a fence I did not own. I paid it off last year, but the whole thing ended up costing an insane amount of money. Fuck her. Fuck chlamydia. Fuck cool guys who do piercing for a living and drive G35s while living in their mom's basement. And fuck fences. 12 years ago I fell asleep at the wheel while working my job 8:00 am after having been working already for 4 hours. I was on a country road, went into the ditch and hit a culvert that flipped me 5 times as I went back across the road the other way. Truck was totaled obviously, and I destroyed a row of hedges on someone's property. I'm not sure the total damage, but the company's insurance covered it all. Definitely over $30 Gs though. I came out with no injuries. No other vehicles or people involved, beyond the owner of the hedges, who came out and helped me call 911. Super lucky, and now I would never drive that tired ever again. Cold been a lot more expensive. At least you didn't go through with a loveless wedding and marriage where you had kids but you both knew they weren't gonna help, and bought a house that was far too expensive, but it was what the kids deserved, and then she decides she's done and asks for a divorce, but you're not ready yet, and so you have a row, and by the end you know it's all for nothing, and the papers go through, and your house is now her house. And your kids are emotionally scarred, and your life just didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, but if only you'd realized, after you bought that engagement ring, what was this about? Yeah, cold been way more expensive. I'm a gem dealer, and usually deal in fine colored stones. IAHH, lost 850k worth of emeralds in an exhibition, while walking around with my friend. The emeralds were in my pocket in a plastic zipper and they were never seen. Took out a big student loan to get a useless degree in history. Took me almost 20 years to pay it off. Minimum payments. I was in a remote area where there weren't many educational options, but looking back I should have gone to the local Votech school and trained to be a CNA or anything other than a history major. Ended up divorced. After over 25 years of marriage, I'm now a receptionist and like my job and still love history. Not me, but my dad. He was jobless for 8 months and took some loan from a sketchy guy. Didn't tell his family though. Lost our house, our cars, and have been struggling ever since. It's been more than 12 years. Also my grandpa didn't take salary while working for his nephew's company. He just worked and didn't ask for his payment. The nephew sold the company with over $30,000 worth of salary still pending for my grandpa. He had the audacity to tell my grandpa straight up that he should forget about it now. After 10 years of service he refused to my fucking granddad his hard-earned cash and caused my grandpa severe emotional damage. Grandpa died of a stroke in 2012. This might be hard to believe but true story. Back in 2007 I had just moved out west to look for work. I was broke and hoping to find a job quick. I had a few $100s and a credit card. One Sunday morning I went to transfer money from my credit card to my bank account. After the transaction was done, I noticed that the amount in my bank account increased, but my available credit didn't change. I did the same transaction again, and the same result. My account kept getting more money, but my credit card didn't change. I decided to see how much of an error this is, so I kept transferring $500 at a time. My credit card at the time had a $2,000 limit, and I managed to transfer $13,000 into my checking account and my credit card still showed unchanged. Full of adrenaline and obviously not thinking, I went to the bank and withdrew my new free money. I got a sweet apartment, furnished it, and lived like a god for a few months. Then one day my credit card company called looking for it all back at once. I explained it was an error but it didn't matter. All of this caused me 7 years of terrible credit followed by 7 more years of slowly building credit back. Thankfully I'm back in business and things are great, but I'll never forget my endless bank account. Theoretically I could have kept adding money until I had $1 million and just said fuck credit scores lol. Took a corner too fast in a forklift carrying a container of 1,000 kilograms lavender essential oil. Forklift went right, container went left, the lid popped off, and the entire container was a loss. Well over 200,000 literally down the drain.